Wild Things opens up at a school assembly. There is Kevin Bacon and another woman, and they're addressing the students um, about rape because this movie is basically about sex crime. Um, but it's also like a sexy thriller too, because you can't. I mean, you can have a sexy movie and you can have a thriller, but it's not a sexy thriller unless there's a sex crime involved. Um, so they're doing some speech to the kids in the school about I guess rape prevention or awareness. I'm not 100% sure, but Nev Campbell's there. She's looking a little gothy. She's got her like a little like white trash gothy, and she's got her leg up and like she's smoking a cigarette or something, trying to be all cool. Um, and then Denise Richards is also there. Oh, they're high school girls. This movie's from a while ago. Denise Richards is also there, and she is like the cheerleadery type or something, like totally opposite Nev Campbell. Now, I think they hate each other or something. At some point, they like look at each other and they do that like Mean Girls thing where they're like, ugh, and then the other girl's like, ugh, fuck you. So, I don't know. Kevin Bacon's up there and everyone's laughing at him because, high schoolers are all like about date rape, I guess. Um, so that scene ends. We cut to Matt Dillon, who's actually the main guy of this movie. He's a teacher in that school, and like all the girls think he's like super hot, right? And Denise Richards and her friends somehow convince him to let them wash his car at his house on the weekend, which is totally appropriate for a teacher to do with his students. So they go to his house and they're getting all like it's like all slow mo. They're squirting each other down with a hose and like wringing the fucking sponge out on their white shirts. And Matt Dillon's like looking out the freaking window of his house with a cigar, and he's just like, huh, these kids these days. Um, Even though I mean they're probably pretty close to the same age, Denise Richards and Matt Dillon, but I mean, in the reality of this movie, one is a high school student, and one is probably, I guess, a 30-year-old teacher or something like that. Um, anyway, so the one girl, Denise Richards, sends her friend away because she's like, "Yo, I'm gonna try and bang fucking Mr. Dillon," and her friend's like, "Oh, you little skank," She like leaves. So then she like gets into his doorway and she's like, "Oh, I'm all soapy and wet," and he's just like, "Well, this is pretty inappropriate with a cigar. This is a pretty inappropriate situation." Um, but then we fade to black, and then something happens. Okay, this movie doesn't rely on a straight narrative. It relies on giving you giant gaps of information that if you had that information that happened in this moment that they skip over right now, you would know the ending of the movie already. So they're like, "Oh, we can't." It's not that we can't do it in chronological order because they do tell the story in chronological order. They just cut out anything that would give you any sort of like clue as to what's happening. Um, so Denise Richards, it cuts to fades to black, fades back in. She leaves the house and she's all upset, and she's got like makeup strewn down her face. And you're like, "Well, something happened here." Um, so then I don't know. What we're really going for here is to talk about that three-way sex scene. I mean, we all remember this scene from this movie. This is pretty much, I'm almost 100% sure this is why this movie got made. I know there's like 7 direct to DVD or whatever the hell it's called now that DVDs don't exist, direct to video sequels to Wild Things, like Wild Things 2, Wilder Things, Wild Things 3, Menage a Trois, or whatever. It's Wild Things 4, Wild Things Foursome, or whatever. So, like that's like what these movies are built on. These movies are built on this three-way scene. Let's just kind of get to that then. I guess the only important thing to know is that Matt Dillon does get accused of raping Denise Richards, and then that Nev Campbell's character comes in and she says, "Oh, he rapes me too." So his career's in shambles, and he's leaving this the school, and this is a really popular teacher. I think he taught sailboating class or something, because that's apparently a thing they do in Florida. Um, he's leaving the school and he drops his award. It was this glass award, and it shatters on the ground, and he's really upset about that. Um, so yeah, he gets back to his hotel. His fucking wife leaves him or whatever, and you think Denise Richards, she's showing up, and you think she's got a gun. It's underneath this blanket, right? It's like, you know how they do it in the movies. And then he turns around, he's like, oh, fuck. And then she unveils it. It's a bottle of champagne. And she pops it open, and he's like, oh, we did it. And then Nev Campbell comes out from the other room, and she's like, yeah, we totally did. You got room for one more. And they all start drinking the champagne. Denise Richards takes her top off, and she's got these nice boobs, and he's like licking them. And then Nev Campbell's licking them. Everybody's licking everything. Um, Turns out they had planned this the whole time. They wanted him to get fired so that they could get some sort of money um, from Denise Richards' mom, who was a super rich lady. I don't know how they would get money from her pretending to be raped, though, and him like ruining his career. Um, Maybe she had a rape insurance policy. Is that a thing? I don't know. Um, Well, the point is, they had this whole plan from the get-go. There was no actual rape. I don't think there's actually any rape in this movie. There's a lot of sex, but everybody wants to be doing it. Um, so they, at least from what I remember, I mean, there might have been. I don't know. I mean, this whole thing that I'm talking about right now is about to fall apart because once this three-way scene happened, I pretty much stopped paying attention to this movie, and that was like 10 years ago or 12 years ago or however many million years ago this movie came out. I saw it in the movie theater with my friends. It was actually really weird because there was this guy, like, we all knew this sex scene was going to happen, and we were like horny teenage boys, so we're like, oh, let's go check out fucking Wild Things. There was this guy who was in the theater in a trench coat by himself, like, sitting, like, kind of down the seats from us, and we just kind of looked at each other. We're like, is this guy going to do what we think he's going to do? Um, it turns out he maybe did. I mean, I stopped paying attention. There was, like, giant boobies on the screen. I was in maybe freaking sophomore year. I was like, oh my god, what a revelation, tits. This is pre-internet too. I mean, internet might have existed, but we were on dial-up. It's not like I could just like Google boobs. Google didn't exist. So yeah, this was like a little treat for us. I'm getting way off track here. Let's talk more about the movie. I think okay. Bill Murray's in it at some point. He plays like some shady lawyer, pretending he has a neck brace on or something like that. I'm going to skip to the next thing I remember, which is Nev Campbell on the beach. Matt Dillon's. They have to, like, their whole story's unraveling. That's what's happening. Kevin Bacon, the sex, and his partner, the lady, they are like, they're like the sex detectives, and they're like, something doesn't add up here, Probably why are we giving him money for raping girls? Or why is anybody getting money? So yeah, they're putting the screws on Nev Campbell, and she's like kind of this, like I said, she's like this gothy white trash chick, so she doesn't really have her shit together, and they think she's gonna fall apart. So like Denise Richards is like, oh, we need to take care of her. So they invite her out to the beach, and he like bludgeons her to death with a champagne bottle, probably a different one than the one that they were all having sex with earlier. Um, yeah, I think they kill her. Fucking remember anything else that happens. Uh, I know at some point it turns out that Denise Richards is gonna get killed, or Matt Dillon is gonna get killed. I know that in the end, turns out Kevin Bacon himself was also in on this. Um, there's like a million twists and turns in this movie. You get to see Kevin Bacon's penis in a shower. He like turns around, his penis is hanging out. So that's pretty cool if you're into that kind of thing. Someone gets knocked off of a sailboat with the sailboat. I don't know why I'm doing it in a circle. Whatever that fucking thing is that flaps on a sailboat. the sail. Someone gets hit by the sail and they get knocked off the boat and they die. Um, I don't know who gets the money in the end. Maybe it was Kevin Bacon this whole time. You know, these cops these days, they think they got absolute power. They can, you know, fake giving shits about crime so that they can get the insurance money from Matt Dillon rape scene. Someone needs to check these police, man. You know, I think that's really the moral of this story, that police corruption is just rampant in our society, and we all need to really take a step back and ask the question, who polices the police? You know, and that was, I guess, Wild Things. That's about it, and I hope we all learned a little bit about ourselves.